good citizens of the world, our viewers, especially in the homeland, Ground Zero, and all over Africa, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me an awesome honor and pleasure to announce to you that we are live on ABC, Amba TV, with the long-awaited edition of ABC Amba News. There is a time for everything. At this time, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia is ready to tell her own story. And the truth is, no one can tell it better than us. No more lies, no more half-truths. Our primary goal is to maximize the use of this platform by providing a voice to the voiceless, connecting our history to the dynamic and evolving global politics, economics, business, and technology as it invariably unfolds in the world of news and happenings. We have in place a seasoned crew to assess and access the wonders of today's multimedia, and most importantly, to ensure that you have this news on your screens, apps, and fingertips. Permit me to welcome you, our esteemed viewers, to the maiden edition of the ABC Amba News. And please, kindly download the ABC Amba TV mobile app from Play Store.
Don't you hate it when that happens to you? When it does, you need this and this and this. When it happens to me, I always know where to go. When you've got professionals on your side, your problems don't stand a chance. What are you waiting for? Contact them today and let them take care of your problems.
Hello, I'm Cynthia Williams and welcome to ABC Amba TV News, the very premier edition of our newscast. Here are the stories we are covering today. First, a student of Higher Teachers Technical Training College of the University of Bamenda, popularly known as Joe, has been killed brutally by Cameroon soldiers. French Cameroon citizens migrating to Ambazonia in search of citizenship. Traders of the Bamenda main market are standing their ground and denying to disrespect the Monday ghost towns. Ambazonians raise over $160,000 to support Libialem County and the Red Dragons. Only 2 weeks after its launch, the book Echoes of Women's Tears by Ambazonian women takes the lead as Amazon's bestseller in its category of history in the Cameroons. In foreign news, today, India takes over as president of the UN Security Council. World economy caps extraordinary return from COVID-19 collapse. These stories and more in this broadcast. Good evening. This is Cynthia Williams and welcome to ABC Amba TV News. As the war in southern Cameroon escalates, the interim government has warned that campuses remain unsafe for students. Despite the outcry from the international community calling on French Cameroon to engage in constructive dialogue through third-party mediation, La République du Cameroun has failed to adhere. Rather, continues to be elusive about the fact that a political problem can be solved militarily. A strategy that has failed woefully for 4 years and counting. This time around, Joe, being the only name ABC got for him, and a student of Higher Teachers Technical Training College of the University of Bamenda, was the victim of Cameroon soldiers' brutality. Our reporter Yaya Fanye brings the details. Yaya?
A Level 2 student of the Higher Teachers Technical Training College, HTTTC, of the University of Bamenda, popularly called Joe, was sadly shot and killed over the weekend by the barbaric forces of La République du Cameroun. This colonial military of La République du Cameroun unjustifiably opened fire at Joe right in front of his hostel just below the university campus in Bambili. Friends who were with him were fortunate enough to have narrowly escaped the senseless killings. Hostel mates rushed him immediately to the hospital, but unfortunately, it was too late. His corpse has been taken to his resting place at the Ndop local government area. It is worth emphasizing that this is not the first time the ruthless forces of La République du Cameroun have opened fire on innocent students, especially in the Touba local government area of Mezam County. Similarly, we have seen such heinous acts carried out against students of the University of Buea in Fako County, the Ambazonian Capital Territory, whereby university girls were maimed, tortured, raped, pulled in mud, and some even killed. The other counties of Ambazonia have equally witnessed untold savagery caused by the forces of La République du Cameroun. This is part of the gruesome plan by the Yaoundé regime of French Cameroon to systematically execute genocide on the people of the former British Southern Cameroons in an attempt to intimidate them and frustrate the legitimate quest for the restoration of their stolen statehood. Last year, 2020, 3 university students were brutally murdered in cold blood after similar shootings by La République du Cameroun soldiers. In the month of May this year, another Level 2 student of biology at the University of Bamenda also suffered gunshot injuries by the same genocidal military. Fortunately, he was rushed to the hospital by his roommates, and with the help and timely intervention of the university authorities, which rescued him from excessive bleeding and subsequent death. The list of atrocities goes on and on. Yaya Fanye on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
Thank you, Yaya Fanye, for that story. Ambazonia isn't only attracting human rights groups and tourists. ABC News has recently gathered from reliable sources that some French Cameroon citizens are currently strategizing themselves to become Ambazonia citizens in a recognized Ambazonia country. Nellie Fortune covered that story and filed this report.
With anticipation of Ambazonia independence becoming real, there is an ongoing trend which ABC News has recently uncovered with La République du Cameroun citizens. ABC News has learned that French Cameroon citizens are migrating in droves into Ambazonia to deliver their newborns in order to secure Ambazonia citizenship for them. One of our sources, who has monitored the trend for the past 4 years, told ABC News that since 2016, French Cameroon citizens, especially of Bamileke extraction, chose to have their newborn delivered in hospitals in Santa and in Victoria so that they can obtain Ambazonia birth certificates. Not only are birth certificates for newborn children established in Ambazonia, many of their marriages too are currently being registered in Ambazonia. The Bamese are beginning to say that they are prepared to pay whatever it will take to live in Ambazonia. What are the reasons? They say Ambazonia has the best cultural and academic systems, including social life in the Central African sub-region. Clergymen and teachers are also amongst those swearing to leave Bamileke land the moment Ambazonia independence is restored. Many Bamileke residents in Kwen, Bamenda, are doing everything possible to maintain their residency, and they are the ones facilitating the acquisition of birth and marriage certificates for their families coming in. They know that Ambazonia is already ours, and they are preparing for Ambazonia more than the Ambazonians themselves. An Ambazonian told ABC News. Nelly Forcho on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
Thank you, Nelly Forchu, for that story. Traders at the Bamenda Main Market in Meezum County have vowed to continue respecting ghost towns despite vicious efforts by the colonial administration in the city to end the practice of the Monday ghost towns. Comfort Confor brings us this story.
Traders of the Bamenda main market have again made their position clear to the colonial city mayor of Bamenda City, Achobang Paul, that they cannot open their shops on Mondays, which is a ghost town day throughout southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. They made the declaration in a gathering recently held at the Commercial Avenue, Bamenda. The colonial city mayor had insisted that the market be opened on Mondays in a bid to fight against the traditional Monday ghost towns in Ambazonia. Speaker after speaker expressed their discontentment with the colonial administration for failing to go for dialogue and to end the crisis.
Now for Bafi, the office, and then there was small Kalabu place, in the Mega certificate. The one for Bali, in that one. Bali to a Portugal, nice and a hole. Now the Bali to the Portugal, will come again.
The market vendors equally challenged the runaway colonial mayors of Bamenda to Bafut and Bali to go back to their council premises if they themselves are not afraid of the war and the unknown. Speaker after speaker made the colonial city mayor to understand that what has pushed many mayors to abandon their structures in this is the same thing that has made them not to open their shops on Mondays. They equally questioned the legality of the mayors in Ambazonia and their city mayor, who they say were never elected by the people. All attempts by the colonial city mayor to get the main market and other markets and shops in the city of Bamenda open have failed. Even when the markets are opened on ghost town days, no shop owner comes to open his or her shop. Talking to ABC, a close aide to the colonial city mayor, whose identity can't be disclosed for security reasons, said the city council has no other choice but to succumb to the population of the city. Comfort Confor on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
Over $160,000 US was generously donated by Ambazonians and well-wishers during Sunday's Amba War Draft Award to support Libialem County, the Red Dragons, and Field Marshal of Ambazonia. In the highly energized Zoom draft meeting, the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Sacco, appreciated the Red Dragons for their loyalty to the interim government and their commitment to the nation's liberation struggle during these challenging times. Again, Comfort Confor was there, and here is her report.
Oh, I'm so happy this draft now for Friday, Saturday, they did it. President did the house. It's
yes,
Amba
I did.
How you doing now, sir?
Now the greeting that I greeted, somebody can answer me now. How you are? How are you?
So, Your Excellency, we are fine.
Yes. So, Libialem, we love you.
Yes,
Ambazonia loves Libialem.
Yes, we do.
That's a fact. And today, what has happened here is a mandate, another mandate, a renewed mandate to the county to not fail Ambazonia.
Yes, indeed. A lump sum of $160,000 was raised on the night of August 1st, 2021 to support the Libialem County. The atmosphere in the Zoom meeting sent a powerful message to La République du Cameroon and to the world that Ambazonians are determined to see their stolen independence restored. There was massive attendance and enormous financial support came in from other counties, patriotic Ambazonians, sons and daughters of Libialem, and well-wishers in support of the fearless and defiant Field Marshal of Ambazonia, the Secretary of State for Communications, Chris Anu, and the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako. In his opening speech, His Excellency Samuel Ikome Sako commended Field Marshal and his forces for their allegiance to the interim government and their resolve to liberate their homeland despite their challenges. While the draft was ongoing, the unbeatable Field Marshal of Ambazonia and the Red Dragons went into a fierce battle with the impostor La République forces of occupation, which ended up in victory on the side of the Red Dragons. According to Field Marshal in a voice message, all the forces of occupation that came to attack them and their military truck were wasted, and a helicopter later came to recuperate their remains since there is no accessible road to Libialem. Talking to ABC on a WhatsApp conference call, the former chairman for Libialem, Comrade Pascal, said it was not an easy ride putting things together for this event. However, as a team of hard-working Ambazonians, they did everything possible to see a successful event. It has been a week-long preparation, which ended up with what Ambazonians refer to as the Award on the Road Show, or simply the pre-draft show, hosted by Dr. Ngwambe, who is the Undersecretary of State for Communications. Throughout the week, there were numerous voice messages and videos sent out by die-hard Ambazonians, including activists, friends of Libialem County, and some government officials, calling on people to support the fearless Field Marshal and his formidable team. Among others, Comrade Walters Fondo, who is one of the Amba State House press secretaries, was caught on camera, dressed up in a complete military attire, singing "Home Again," as he called on Ambazonians and well-wishers to tender massive support and, in his words, to the most targeted but most unbeatable Red Dragons of Libialem. He added that this much-needed financial assistance would go a long way to produce more Lefansé and Kiangé, which are locally fabricated warfare weapons invented in Libialem. The event ended at about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was about 2 a.m. Monday morning in Boya, and Ambazonians left the Zoom meeting celebrating success for the day and looking forward to drafting for the next county in the week ahead. Comfort Confo on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
Thank you once again, Comfort for that great reporting. Another victory story for the nation of Ambazonia. A prestigious one indeed. Only 2 weeks after the launch of the book Echoes of Women's Tears, encapsulating a 21st century genocide in the former British Southern Cameroon, the book has taken the lead as Amazon bestseller in its category of history in the Cameroons. ABC Amba News team had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Patience Abiodun, the Secretary of State for Women's Services of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia and compiler of the book earlier today. Here's what she had to say.
I feel really excited that Echoes of Women's Tears is now ranked #1 bestseller on Amazon under the category of history in Cameroon. In fact, all my sisters, the co-authors of this publication, we are all extremely excited by that news. So the message that I'd like to communicate to the world, particularly the international community, the partners that we have in this, our struggle for independence, is that this book tells the stories of women in our struggle for independence, and the fact that nothing has been done for almost 4 years, 5 years, is very significant. And we are hoping that the word will spread to all the corners of the earth, so much so that those who have the powers to make a change and bring this war to an end will do so. Also, we know that as a bestseller, it means that people are purchasing the book. The proceeds from this book are intended to help our prisoners of conscience, our IDPs, or internally displaced people, our refugees, our widows and orphans, and many, many more. So this really goes a long way to do two things: get the message out, expecting results to stop the war, and also help the people that are suffering. I am inclined to believe that because we are seeing such great sales now, we may have this book maintain the #1 rank for a long period of time if we do our part. So we need to partner with others. We need others to collaborate with us to get the book out, to get the word out, knowing that it's for the benefit of those millions of people that are suffering back home. As a matter of fact, the sales from this book is supposed to go to assuage the suffering of our people. You know, we have IDPs, which are internally displaced people. We have refugees. We have orphans, widows. We have prisoners of conscience, and the list goes on and on. That will benefit from the proceeds of this book. We are a trustworthy group of women that will guarantee you that the funds will not be mismanaged. They will go for what they are intended for. So please, each and every one of you should make sure that you get a copy for yourself. We're partnering right now. You get a copy for a colleague at work. You get a copy for a classmate or a schoolmate. More importantly, government officials in your city, congressmen. But by the way, we will take care of the congressmen and the senators. In fact, we are collaborating with the activists who promise that they will take care of that portion of it, meaning that they will make sure that the senators, parliamentarians, Congress people get a copy of this book. So the women are my sisters. I thank them all because this is really a teamwork. We are all in this together, every person doing their own little bit to make sure that this book stays #1 on Amazon best list. Thank you so much.
Now for international news. Today, Monday, August 2nd, India took over as president of the UN Security Council. Mr. H.E. Tirumurti, permanent representative of India to the UN, will be sitting in during this time as president of the Security Council. Nellie Fortune in this report tells us what the expectations are for India.
India has just assumed the presidency of the United Nations Security Council on the 1st of August. It is indeed an important moment for India and for all of us in the permanent mission of India to the United Nations. I would like to thank France for presiding over the Council in July, in particular my dear friend and colleague, His Excellency Ambassador Desvarieux, Permanent Representative of France to the United Nations, who has successfully steered the French presidency through the month. Given his vast experience and insight into the working of the United Nations, especially the Security Council, Ambassador Nicolas and his team have set very high standards for others to emulate. India and France enjoy historical and close relations, and I would like to thank France for all the support which they have given us during our stint in the Security Council. During our presidency in August, India is organizing 3 high-level signature meetings focusing on our priority areas, that is, maritime security, peacekeeping, and counter-terrorism. India will also be organizing a solemn event in the memory of peacekeepers. The Security Council will also have on its agenda several important meetings, including Syria, Iraq, Somalia, Yemen, and the Middle East. The Security Council will also be adopting important resolutions on Somalia, Mali, and the UN interim force in Lebanon. I am confident that India's presidency will contribute to strengthen international peace and security further.
Today, India took over the leadership of the UN Security Council and is set to host the signature events in 3 major areas of maritime security, peacekeeping, and counter-terrorism during the month. It is a singular honor for us to be presiding over the Security Council the same month when we are celebrating our 75th Independence Day. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador T.S. Tirumurti, said in a video message on the eve of India assuming the rotating presidency of the august, powerful 15-nation UN body. Today, Tirumurti held a hybrid press briefing in the UN headquarters on the Council's program of work for the month. Tirumurti also provided a briefing for member states of the United Nations, which are non-members of the Council, on its work for the month. The August presidency will be India's first presidency during its 2021-22 tenure as a non-permanent member of the Security Council. India will again preside over the Council in December next year, the last month of its 2-year tenure. During its presidency, India will be organizing high-level signature events in 3 major areas: maritime security, peacekeeping, and counter-terrorism. In the video message, Tirumurti said maritime security has a high priority for India and it is important for the Security Council to take a holistic approach to the issue. Peacekeeping is a topic close to our hearts. Given our own long and pioneering involvement with peacekeeping, he said, adding that India will focus on how to ensure the safety of peacekeepers, especially by using better technology, and how to bring perpetrators of crimes against peacekeepers to justice. Nelly Fortu on Prime reports on ABC Amba News.
The entertainment world has again been struck by the cold hands of death following the passing of the co-founder and leader of the Caribbean music group Kassav. Jacob Devereaux died over the weekend after being in a coma for 2 weeks in a French medical facility, reportedly of COVID-19. Robert Bate has more on that sad news.
The death of Jacob Desvarieux, the group leader and co-founder of Group Kassav, is the heaviest blow to members and lovers of Zouk music. Reported to have died of COVID-19 over the weekend, he was hospitalized and placed in a medically induced coma earlier this month. It should be noted that prior to his contracting the COVID-19, Jacob also underwent a kidney transplant not too long ago. This emblematic icon was unique in many ways. His white beard and his entrancing solo guitar are unforgettable threads of this much adored music diva whose group Kassav set the world ablaze with a series of memorable concerts and albums in the 80s, 90s and the 2000s. His raucous voice was another additional trademark to the music group. The French President Emmanuel Macron tweeted, "A giant of Zouk music, an unparalleled guitarist, an emblematic voice of the West Indies, Jacob Desvarieux, was all of these things at once. May his soul rest in peace." End of quote. For more than 4 decades today, Jacob Desvarieux and his group mates or co-founders maintained and sustained the group, having one of the highest crowd-pulling concerts around the world. But before gaining popularity across the world, the group used the influence of well-known Dominican, Haitian, and Guadeloupean bands to create a Guadeloupean carnival sound known as Zouk. In 1980, the band, who got its name from French for cassava, launched its first album, Love Dance, and toured widely through Paris. In 1983, Kassav released Zouk la Salsa Médicament Nouni, meaning Zouk is the only medicine we have, from their second album, Yelele. It became the first Antillean record to sell over 100,000 copies. Kassav has so far produced over 50 albums, a combination of band albums and solo projects from members of the band, which celebrated its 40th anniversary in 2019. Kassav is a popular genre enjoyed in Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antilles, many countries across the world, and throughout the Caribbean islands such as Haiti, St. Lucia, and Dominica, where they last performed at the World Creole Music Festival in 2018. The band also performed at the 2019 Carifesta held in Trinidad and Tobago, impressing the audience with their clean sound and energetic vibe. The group equally lost one of its core members, Patrick Saint Eloi, in 2010. And now, with the quitting the stage of Jacob Desvarieux, speculations are high amongst fans of Kassav whether the group would survive without this emblematic figure. These speculations and more would only be answered by the surviving group actors like Jean-Philippe Martelly, Jocelyn Berrod, Jean-Claude Naimro, and George Decimus. Robert Batte for ABC Amba News.
Now in sports news, South Africa shoulders the continent of Africa for almost 2 weeks in the ongoing Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan, AFCON 2021 is only a few weeks away. Though the genocide in Ambazonia continues, Match Pair Up features the stadium in Victoria in its colonial name of Limbe. Sports correspondent Mike Fusey files in the report.
Media and everything just to focus on my competition. So at the moment I still have a lot of messages to reply. So I haven't been reading any news or something. So I think that's maybe why it hasn't really sunk in until you kind of arrive here and see how it plays out.
The ongoing Olympics Games in Tokyo, Japan continue with so many athletes still aiming for gold medals. Till this moment, there has been no medal won by neighboring La République du Cameroon and Nigeria. Despite putting on a tough challenge by not losing against teams like Brazil, Germany and Spain, Côte d'Ivoire were eliminated at the quarterfinals in penalty shootout by Spain after a full-time 1-1 draw, while Egypt were beaten 1-0 by Brazil to progress to the semi-finals. Brazil will take on Mexico, while Spain faces host nation Japan. Meanwhile, in the women's football category, Sweden will face Australia, and the United States faces neighbors Canada in the semi-finals. As of the moment of sending this report, China sits on overall second spot despite winning the highest number of gold, 22, behind the United States of America, which has won 19 gold but a total of 52 medals. South Africa is the best represented African nation at the Tokyo Olympics with 3 medals, 1 gold and 2 bronze. Till this moment, there has been no medal won by neighboring La République du Cameroon and Nigeria. Meanwhile, the 33rd edition of the African Cup of Nations has been scheduled to take place in Cameroon from January 9th to February 6th, 2022. Meanwhile, a total of 24 teams will be representing their countries at the tournament. Yaoundé, Douala, Garoua, Bafoussam and Limbe were venues where these games are scheduled to take place. The ongoing war in the southern Cameroons leaves athletes and lovers of the round leather game wondering how CAF could include Limbe amongst the venues for the AFCON 2022. The interim government had warned that despite the love southern Cameroonians have for football, they cannot place it at a priority amidst the killings ongoing in their land. It was at this backdrop that a statement was issued during the CAF Championship that the safety of any athletes and the fans in our territory cannot be guaranteed. The interim government uses this opportunity to remind CAF and the World Football Governing Body to use this as an opportunity to urge the Cameroon government to heed to the dialogue and negotiation calls with the people of the southern Cameroons to end the 5-year-long war. Mike Fusey on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
Thank you, Mike Fusey. This brings us to the end of today's newscast. Thank you for watching. The news will be back on Wednesday. Stay tuned. My name is Cynthia Williams. Bye-bye. Hello, I am Cynthia Williams and welcome to ABC Amba TV News, the very premier edition of our newscast. Here are the stories we are covering today. First, a student of Higher Teachers Technical Training College of the University of Bamenda, popularly known as Joe, has been killed brutally by Cameroon soldiers. French Cameroon citizens migrating to Ambazonia in search of citizenship. Traders of the Bamenda main market are standing their ground and denying to disrespect the Monday ghost towns. Ambazonians raise over $160,000 to support Libialem County and the Red Dragons. Only 2 weeks after its launch, the book Echoes of Women's Tears by Ambazonian women takes the lead as Amazon's bestseller in its category of history in the Cameroons. In foreign news, today, India takes over as president of the UN Security Council. World economy caps extraordinary return from COVID-19 collapse. These stories and more in this broadcast.
Don't you hate it when that happens to you? When it does, you need this and this and this. When it happens to me, I always know where to go. When you've got professionals on your side, your problems don't stand a chance. What are you waiting for? Contact them today and let them take care of your problems.